What's going on, guys? David Eickholt here from HawkeyeInsider.com. Pleased to be joined by my good friend Andrew Downs from IowaEverywhere. AD, we've done a lot of content on your platform. I'm always appreciative of you allowing me into your kingdom. So I thought I'd return the favor. And safe to say, this might be the most interesting season opener we've had in quite some time across the landscape. First of all, how are you? And then I'm going to let you take it, man, because I got about 50 different directions I could go here.
First of all, thank you for having me. Always love doing stuff with you, and it's fun to do it on a night like this, man. Yeah, I mean, the most anticipated season opener since probably Alford. And that was, I mean, they beat UConn in his first game as head coach. My biggest takeaway is Bennett Stirts is everything that we hoped he would be, and I get that it's one game, it's Robert Morris. We'll put that context on just about everything we talk about tonight, but I saw Bennett Stirts a couple of times as a Drake Bulldog, but I didn't watch them every game. I didn't watch them in and out, or night in, night out, and all of the hype coming into the season, all of the preseason accolades and the talk of being a lottery pick. And, I was a little skeptical. I was a little bit like, is this really going to translate like that? And again, it's Robert Morris. It's game one. We'll see how he holds up against the Big 10 schedule. But holy cow, this dude is fun to watch. He's incredible. I'm so excited to be a fan of this team and to kind of get to know these guys as the season progresses. I told you at one point, I think it was Big Ten Media Days, and Iowa Hoops put out a thing like, our guys talk about the season. And I was like, these aren't our guys. I don't know who the hell these guys are.
Yeah.
Well, I'm starting to learn who guys like Tavion Banks and Isaiah Howard and certainly Bennett Stirts are. And man, what a great night. What a great debut for Ben McCollum and this team.
Dude, I mean, I've been all in on Bennett Stirts since the first time I watched him. Like, he has the rare pace. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter what you throw at him. Speed-wise, traps, full court presses. Like, there's not a time where he does not control the game or does what he does. I mean, I think you can clearly see why Ben McCollum's a ride or die by him, right? I was blown away by that. The one thing I'll say is I love Tavion Banks' game back when he was at Drake. I did not know he was this athletic.
Holy cow.
That one-handed dunk he had on that alley-oop, like, this is a very selfless group. I liked what Alvaro Fulgaris brought to the table. Still can't stand Kelly Pfeiffer and stripes. And this, by the way, the game's still going on for people who are just tuning in, maybe not finishing up the game. They are now up to 52 fouls with 4 minutes left in this basketball game.
Good Lord.
Not a good way to watch a game, in my opinion. But, I mean, Bennett Stirts should never be taken off the floor. He's obviously well-conditioned enough. And the difference was night and day just from the opening tip. Like, what they did just to string things together. We'll talk plenty about the defense. And I don't care if it's Robert Morris from this standpoint. The communications and the screen defense were absolutely spectacular. I do think Ben's not going to be happy about some of the shooting percentages, but the perimeter pressure and the communication, it was for a season opener with a brand new team. I know they have people from Drake, but different lineup combinations. It was farther along than what I expected, AD. It really was.
And you can see why Ben McCollum brought as many guys from his Drake team as he did, because in a world like this where you have to I think I heard somebody say microwave chemistry, with the way the transfer portal is, you got to really, I mean, you have 1 year with most of these guys or with this group of guys to kind of make this happen. And so when you can bring 6 guys that have already known your system, that have already played together, that already have some level of chemistry together, even though it's a lower, level, the Missouri Valley, it really means something. And again, we'll see how they hold up against Big Ten competition. They're not going to be the most talented team on the court most nights in the Big Ten. But if they play the way they did tonight, if they have that level of fight, that level of connectiveness, they're going to beat a lot of teams, man. And yeah, you talk about the defense. The other thing that was so interesting, again, just kind of letting this game wash over you as a fan and kind of, okay, what is this going to be like? I found myself in the first half, like, I need to readjust the pace that I'm used to watching, because
Yeah.
Fran McCaffrey
Yeah.
teams are just shooting the ball. They're running down and they're shooting the ball. And there were several times in this game where I thought a guy was about to shoot and then he makes the extra pass. And a lot of times that ends up well. And I mean, they're going to score likely 100 points. They're at 95 right now with 3 minutes to go. And so the pace is drastically different, but the production is not at all. And I think that's what we hoped we were getting with Ben McCollum, is a guy who could kind of marry a defense and an offensive strategy to still score a lot of points and still put on an entertaining product, but to not, lose games 100-95.
It'll be interesting too. I think this is the best case scenario, because you're getting an easily comfortable win with this team. But you know what's going to be lost in this entire equation, AD? Robert Morris is 10 of 13 from 3 in the second half. And we're talking about how good the defense is. Like that is insane to me. I do think the one thing we've talked about all offseason I'm definitely worried about. I thought Iowa's defensive rebounding is horrible. There was a time in the game where Iowa was at 14 total rebounds and Robert Morris had 12 offensive rebounds alone. Jeez. I mean, that's going to get you killed. And I think about now again, I don't want to compare Iowa to the elites of the Big Ten, but Iowa's going to have to face them, right?
Yes.
What Purdue's team is going to be able to do. Trey Kaufman-Renn. You look at what Michigan, what Dusty May and some of those other teams are going to have. If you can't lock down the perimeter or at least lock down defense rebounding, it's going to make it really, really tough to win games. I will hop back on that in just a second. I know we got some comments. People are asking about Brendan Housen. We need to get clarification post-game.
Yeah.
We have Elliot Clough and Sean Bach there right now. They're going to be the guys that are going to be there more often than myself. I'm going to do a lot more YouTube lives and other multimedia content this year. Beauty of having 3 people. AD, I'm not going to lie to you. It's nice not covering 3 different beats at the same time in the fall.
I bet.
I mean, there were times where I was covering writing 6 game recaps a week, 2 men's, 3 women's, the football game. I mean, it's, again, I love it, but it's very nice. I can, expand the avenue and interact with you, with other, the readers of our work and do all of that. So we're going to get some clarification post game. I don't think he's 100%. I think you could kind of see on TV after he was only in there for a minute or 2. I think the coaches were asking him, this is my expert lip reading, how you feeling? You moving around all right? You doing well? He didn't play a lot of minutes in Iowa's second secret scrimmage either. And I also think that's going to be worth noting. But the reality is this: Housen is going to win Iowa a game or 2 this year. But, we got to keep it real, man. He's not defensively up to par. Doesn't have the upside that some of these other guards have. I love Isaiah Howard. Howard. He's got ways to go, but the effort was infectious. I was very pleased with what I saw him tonight.
The starting lineup was interesting. I mean, it came out just a couple of minutes before the game, and I think for a lot of us, it was oh, okay, that's not exactly what we expected. And Housen was one of those guys, and then it was literally I was in a text group, and right as I texted, he must be either injured or suspended or being sat for some reason. There's a reason he's not playing. And literally right as I say that, he checks into the game. So, oh, okay, well, I'm all wet on that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Ben says after the game as to why we didn't see him very much, because I did expect him to be a bigger factor on this team than he was in game 1.
I'll tell you, I love the 1-2 combination of Cooper Koch and Bennett Stirts. They were playing almost give and go, looking for that pick and pop. I really think that's going to play a factor this year. Loved Alvaro Fulgaris. I do think at times, if you go back to what Ben McCollum said in his Iowa media day, he talked about how he needs to challenge. Everybody on the team needs to challenge Alvaro to put together the minutes and the stretches of intensity. I thought he picked his spots well. I did think he checked out a couple of times on defense, but he was active on the bench. And I mean, people need to realize that does translate to in-game energy when guys are fully invested off on the bench, cheering on their teammates, doing different things. He ended up stepping it up rebounding wise, and he's going to have to. I think he's a very skilled player. I do think it's going to take him a little bit to get used to this system, but it was just almost refreshing, the style of system on both sides of the ball. And I'm not talking about Ben McCollum's offense being better than Fran McCaffrey's offense. They're 2 different style of offenses, and whatever we want to talk about Fran McCaffrey's defense and his rebounding, you can't knock the offense. The motion offense that he had was masterful. There's a reason why he was so highly regarded with what he did. But Iowa did a phenomenal job of forcing turnovers, getting out in transition. By the way, they did officially hit 100 points. Every single player that has entered the game has scored. Really curious what he says about Trey Thompson, because I thought Trey Thompson was going to be able to get some run. But Joey Mattione got his first career bucket. Tate Sage got his first career bucket as well. I love the student section. People can make fun of it for how like corny it looks, but that's going to make an impact during the game and getting kind of the POV of it. Going back there yesterday for the women's, that's going to be a very big factor, I think, this year when people start to kind of pat Carver again for the men's games. But I thought Iowa did a spectacular job in transition. I mean, they keep this in mind. They forced 23 turnovers. They have let me see what they're at right now. They're at 33 points off Robert Morris turnover. That's going to win you a hell of a lot of games. Mm-hmm. I thought the perimeter pressure was fantastic. I thought they did get bullied in the paint a little bit in the first half. I think there were a couple of missed rotations, but again, like a lot of new faces, new system, new competition. I know it's Robert Morris. Robert Morris is going through the same thing, but I don't know if I'm going to know what this team's like until middle of January, early February. Yeah. But, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, 80, I mean, what do you give the debut tonight? Just kind of the totality of everything.
I guess you got to leave a little room for improvement, so maybe give it a 9 or a 9.5. But I mean, this is everything you wanted to see as a Hawkeye fan in Game 1. And you talked about Fulgaris, and I think especially him. You know, I was listening to the radio pregame show as I was doing some chores, and Dolph was talking to the Robert Morris coach, and he even kind of called Fulgaris out. You know, he's a guy who, if he can be consistent, if he can stay plugged in, if he can, you know, stay focused and stay attached, he's a really dangerous player, but he's not always that guy. And I think we'll see games, probably full games, where he just doesn't quite have it. He just doesn't quite show up. And again, it's a guy that I've been a little skeptical about all off season. And he comes in tonight and looks really good and hits 3 threes and is active. And as you said, is active on the bench and seems plugged into this team and you know, his teammates. And so that was really, really cool to see. And yeah, as people are saying in the comment, I mean, like, we were worried this was going to be a slow offense. And again, the pace is slower. It's more deliberate, but it's also crisper and more efficient. And it's a lot what we saw from Drake in the NCAA tournament last year. And as this team starts to grow and starts to meld, there are definitely going to be growing pains. And as you said, we probably won't really have a team in stride until the middle of January. But between now and then, there's going to be a lot of fun to watch this team. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what more you could have asked for the opening game from both Ben McCollum, Bennett Stirts, from a lot of the supporting cast and just kind of the overall vibes. I guess the one thing I was a little disappointed in was the crowd at Carver. I didn't expect it to be sold out, but and again, I get it's a weeknight and it's a bye game against Robert Morris and all that, but man, let's support this team. It'll get there. Carver can rock, and it will if this team continues to win, or at least continues to be fun. And Ben McCollum has done everything you can do to engage this fan base. I'm glad to hear what you said about the student section, because I think that is going to be very cool, especially if that becomes a hot ticket and those students take some pride in sitting in those sections and kind of making a lot of noise and making it hard for the other team.
Yeah.
That was the one thing when, especially in the opening, there's the lights are flashing. You see these just huge sections of empty seats, and it's like, man, I would have loved to give Ben McCollum a better welcome, I guess, as Iowa's coach.
That was one of the things I was on with Trent Condon and Ken Miller on KXNO earlier, and they asked me what my storylines were, and I said I didn't know what the rotation was going to look like. I knew what the starting lineup was going to look like. I think myself and everybody else were wrong about the starting lineup. But the other thing I said, man, is like, what's this crowd going to look like, right? Ben McCollum has done everything well in this. He's had a damn near perfect offseason in terms of like not saying no to any media request. He's in the student section for football games, telling people to go. He's doing all the public appearances. Probably the only human in the state of Iowa that's had more caffeine than me over the past like 6-7 months. But how much will he have to rebuild from generating excitement within the program? That was my big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, whatever, and I'm taking the McCaffrey regime totally out of the equation. Look at the seats like at the end of last season.
Yeah.
Look at the lack of discussion on like HawkeyeInsider.com. Look at the lack of Twitter fights you got in, or even Twitter fights you saw. Right. And again, I'm not saying the social media and the internet are everything, but those are like a lot of the big diehard portion of fans, the most vocal. And if they tune out, what's everybody else's at? Where's everybody else at that point, right? And if you're Bet Gets, or if you're any other AD or taking, not just Iowa basketball, you'd rather have an angry fan base than an apathetic fan base, because at least angry people give a crap.
Yes.
At that point.
And that was the final nail in Fran McCaffrey's coffin at Iowa. He didn't lose his job because his teams were so bad or the seasons had fallen apart. The program hadn't bottomed out. They weren't the worst team in the Big Ten, right? They wasn't
Not
what
close.
Fans wanted it to be, but he didn't lose his job because of the on-court product. He lost his job because the fan base got apathetic. Nobody cared anymore. And that is the death knell to any coach. And we've talked about it with like Wisconsin football right now. It's like, it's one thing to be bad. It's another thing if everybody checks out. And it's hard to get everybody to check back in, especially this day and age where, the fight for your time and your dollars is stronger than ever. You've got a bunch of people selling out Carver Hawkeye Arena for women's games and for wrestling. You've got people shelling out $200 to go see Iowa play Oregon in football this weekend. I mean, it's that you're asking a lot of a fan base to be this plugged into this many sports, and a lot of fans, especially over the last couple of years, made the easy decision to check out on men's basketball. And it's going to take more than a couple of pep rallies, and it's going to take more than a couple of good games against bad teams to get a lot of people to check back in. But they will get there, and I think that Ben McCollum is the guy to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is exactly right too. I mean, the rise in women's, because like you said, man, like, and think about this: Iowa fans love wrestling too.
Yeah.
On top of that, like, there are 4 major five. If you want to throw women's wrestling in there too, you have 5 major sports that people are really invested in. And you talk about, you're not sitting in Detroit, you're not sitting in New York, you're not sitting in LA. Like, this is a very passionate, state fan base for a lot of different things. But they're also raising families. They're also, investing in dealing with life situations. Like, there are so many different avenues of this. So what's the great quote? Win and they will come. I mean, that's what it's going to be. I do think that Ben and his team have done a good job of trying to connect with Iowa fans. And I also think look, Caitlin Clark was Caitlin Clark. That's never going to be replicated, of course. But what did that Iowa women's program do? They connected with the common fan. Mm-hmm. They were there for the long haul. They built something. And that's why post Caitlin, post Kate Martin, post Lisa Bluter, that's why they're still selling out. And Ben McCollum has the personality and understanding and the history of Iowa to where he has potential to do that. But I also think to some degree it's harder for men's basketball, because when you're getting transfers, it's 1 year, right?
Yes.
Like for women's basketball, they can get to know their players for 3 or 4 years. Because why, a lot of people are asking, why would you want to invest all this money for somebody that it's not going to come back after 6 months, not going to come back after 9 months and do all of that. So it'll be interesting. And by the way, somebody said that Ben and company are in the stands thanking everybody for coming. That's awesome. Exactly what gets people coming back.
Yes.
It's the same, again, not to relate to the women's, because again, these are 2 separate entities, but that is the blueprint of how you rebuild that fan base. What did they do after every game? They go to the middle of the court, they waved to everybody, and then they spent how much time signing autographs for kids, pictures of the casual fans. Again, I get it. It's different. But
that's the thing that built up over years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, fans feel like they know Jan Jensen because they've known her for a long time, and they watched her go through, these deep tournament runs as assistant coach. And then they were rooting. Everybody was rooting for her to get the job as soon as Lisa Bluter stepped aside. And like, that says a lot about the connection you were able to make with this fan base. And I think Ben McCollum with guys like Tyler Sash's brother on the staff, right? Like, I mean,
Yep,
he understands
absolutely.
what the mindset of this fan base is. He understands what it's going to take to get it back. He wasn't surprised, I'm sure, that Carver was half full, but right away in the game, he's getting the crowd into it. I mean, that's fun for the crowd. I mean, you go out there and the coach is acknowledging you and the players that you feel like you're. One of the reasons Kinnick sells out. One of the reasons people are proud to go to Kinnick. One of the reasons people are going to be excited about the game Saturday afternoon is because they know they make a difference in that game. They know in that north end zone at Kinnick Stadium, you're a part of that game. You're not just a fan watching that game. It's not the same as seeing it on TV. You are involved in that game. And Carver is going to start feeling like that if Ben McCollum can keep this thing going. And that's really all you need, because this can be a good arena and it is a good fan base. They just got to get it back.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I will get back to the game here in just a second, but I do think this opens up an interesting discussion because I've been on both sides of the fence when it comes to Carver Hawkeye. I've never been as critical as a lot of people.
Yeah.
From this standpoint. Kicks butt in wrestling. The atmosphere is crazy. There's a reason why it's the gold standard for women's basketball arenas now. What happens? They create their own energy.
Yes.
They really do. And yes, I mean, you talk about somebody who's a maestro of it. Again, I hate to go back to it, but Caitlin Clark, every time she told everybody to rise up, they rose up. Think about what Mark Gronowski does when he's made a big run in Kinnick this season. After, I think back, it was the turning point, I think, of the Penn State game. When you, not the big, long 60-yard run, but what was that one he had 5 minutes before that? It was like that 38-yard run, and that's when Iowa's offensive were like, okay, are they really going to bounce back? And we were still questioning his knee and how healthy he was. 38 yards, gets up, starts yelling at his bench, looks around the entire stadium and hypes up everybody. I'm not saying you need a showman like that, but even the small thing that Ben McCollum did after Bennett Stirts' and one against a team they're 23-point favorites by, to go up by 8 in the first 3 minutes, and he's looking around saying, let's go, let's go. That sort of mini adrenaline rush that fans get, and that sort of, I don't want to say euphoria, it just hits different when they see the guy that's supposed to represent all of them be as outwardly passionate as they are in the stands. And I think that goes a long way.
I'm sure there's an extent to which this exists in every fan base, but it does feel more tangible in Iowa. It feels like we really want to connect with guys like that. There's a reason that Peyton Sanford was such a favorite. And I mean, you can't be even whether or not it's justified. You can't be shit talking Iowa's fan base on Twitter when you're a Hawkeye player. Like, it doesn't come off well. People don't like that. And you see, like, the Gronowski thing is a perfect example, because this guy gets hurt. He's only here for 1 year. We all think of him, I mean, you can cynically think of him as a bought product, right? He's paid to be here. That's the only reason he's here. It's so he can up his own glory, right? And what's he do when he gets hurt? He wants to go back in. He fights to get back in. He's still plugged in. The entire team says, he's still there. Like you said, the reactions he has, doing jump around on the sideline in Madison when you're kicking the crap out of Wisconsin. I mean, stuff like that really does connect with the fan base and make
that skyrocketed you up. Yeah, that's what also launched the second apology tour from you.
Absolutely. I love that, dude. But I mean, doing like the guitar when he gets into the end zone. And I mean,
this is a really good example too. Lucy Olsen, what she did in her 1 year. That's a great example.
Absolutely. It's a great, especially because she didn't start out playing maybe as well as most Iowa fans thought she would, like Mark Gronowski.
Which was also the most impossible standard of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy shoes to fill, but she got better and better as the season went on, but she stayed plugged into the fan base, and that's exactly right. And Bennett Stirts isn't going to be that guy. He doesn't seem like a rah-rah guy. It'll be interesting, but he's also one of those guys where when he does get emotional, and I'm sure we'll see it several times this year, when he does, late in the game, when he makes a big and one, and he's really into it, that's going to fire us up even more because it's kind of out of character for him. But Ben McCollum can be that guy for this team, and he can be that consistent thing when the team changes over year in and year out, and you have different players leaving and coming in. You've got the guy in Ben McCollum, a guy that Fran McCaffrey was just never going to be, that rah guy.
So, John, we have an official John Rothstein nickname for Ben McCollum.
What is
Ben
it?
McCollum, the natural.
I like it.
So I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I
I
got
don't
my
know if
Ben
you
McCollum tie up here, just like everybody
Oh,
else.
you do?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
Oh
do? That's
yeah.
a
I'm all in.
nice little
I'm all in.
nice little part of it. I will say, so I don't know if you saw the comment I put up, but somebody just said that the staff and the players were going up to the student section and high-fiving them post-game. Again, that's exactly what you do. And I'm not saying it wasn't like you had to do it, but if you're trying to accelerate or almost again a revitalization of a fan base, that's one of the things you do. And I'll tell you what, again, I think I said this on Iowa Everywhere when you and I were talking a little bit about basketball. The one thing throughout the McCollum hire and the way he's gone about everything and understands everything, despite him being at Northwest Missouri State, despite him being at Drake, you know what this tells me, AD? He's been paying attention to Iowa the entire damn time.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way he walks in this situation not paying close attention to Iowa and not knowing what it needs. It doesn't matter how many voices are in his head. He's gone about his own way, and he 100% understands it.
It really feels like a perfect hire, man. And like this was at March. I was so upset when Darren DeVries and that whole thing, because I was like dead set on Darren DeVries is coming to Iowa. He's the prodigal son. He's the one who's going to turn this thing around. And I was so jacked for it. And when that fell apart, I was like, and I nothing against Drake. I was not excited to hire the Drake coach, who I hadn't watched much of. You know, and yeah, they had a nice little season, and apparently they have a good little point guard. But come on, this is a Big Ten university, and everything he has done, everything he said, every step he's made, everything everybody said about him, and then watching his team on the floor tonight in the black and gold has won me over time and time again. I think he is the perfect hire. He is one of us. It's like we're talking about. You need to feel connection to these programs. It's going to be hard to not feel connected if you're an Iowa kid to a guy like Ben McCollum, who, as you said, has been paying attention, is clearly a Hawkeye fan, grew up that way, and that's what you need. That's what you need in this program right now. You do need one of us, and that's what he is.
I'll say this: a couple concerns I have about the game. I want to quickly go back to this for a few more minutes, AD. Then,
Wait, it wasn't perfect?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I've been the amount of times I've been called a homer over the past like 2 weeks by people. It's been funny to watch. Trevin Urach, by the way, I'm a believer in him. Like, yeah. Talk about a kid that wants want to be nothing more than an Iowa Hawkeye from everything I've been told. Mm-hmm. And he's had a really, really good offseason. But had a couple good moments. Saw him really a couple times during the offseason. Works his tail off in the post. Improving three-point shooter. Good passer. Has some guard skills. Cam and Urach had played 26 minutes total. 0 defensive rebounds. Ooh. That's 0 defensive rebounds from your starting 5 spot. That's going to kill you in Big Ten play.
No doubt.
Fulgaris had 4 defensive rebounds. Then nobody else had more than 2. Again, like that. Those are things where when you talk about Big Ten play, the way everything kind of turns up, I'm not a big fan of that. Loved 11 steals. I think that's been a really good thing. Everybody that was on the court scored in the 101-69 victory. Iowa averaged 1.53 points per possession in this basketball game. And then shout Kelly Pfeiffer, 59 fouls in 40 minutes between the two teams. Just fantastic.
Come on, man. The first game of the season. Like, come on.
Iowa shot 61% for the game. Go over to Robert Morris. A couple things that stand out. Obviously, the first half, they only shot 1 of 11 against Iowa, but 10 of 13 from 3 in that second half. Again, that's where it'll kill you. 1.38 points per possession over that final 20 minutes. That's not great. And again, Iowa did a great job establishing a lead so early. I do think Ben McCollum's going to harp on 2 things. I think he's going to harp on the shooting percentage. I think he's going to harp on the defensive rebounding. But again, if you look into the actual details of the game, the angles they were taking on screen coverage, the sets they were running, the communication, the amount of rotation on the perimeter, it was really, really impressive. And that will rattle young backcourts in the Big Ten. The upside's there. But I'm with you. I don't want to say it's a 9. I'd probably give it an 8 just because there were some glaring things that or, red flags are going to be continued to be raised by me. But from what I expected, which to be honest with you, man, I don't think anybody knew what to expect.
Right.
I love that I saw Ben McCollum. It didn't matter. You couldn't tell if he was up 25 or down 25.
Yes.
He was
Absolutely.
coaching like every possession was
and the way Bennett Stirts plays. I mean, like he plays the same in minute 1 and minute 40, and he's probably been on the floor the entire time.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm happy you brought that up. Congratulations to Bennett Stirts for getting a career high 4.5 minutes on the bench. That might be more time he spends on the bench than the entire time in Big Ten play.
Yeah, they're up like 25 with 7 minutes left, and he's still out there. I'm like, oh, he literally does actually play every minute of every game. They weren't that wasn't hyperbole. Yeah, man. Absolutely. There are things that are going to shoot Iowa this Big Ten season. Not having a true big, it's going to be really tough on some nights, and they're going to have to use their energy and their positioning. And their fight and their grit to kind of overcome some of that stuff. But some of that's going to be really insurmountable for this team. And that's one of the big questions. And we saw at times it kind of rear its ugly head tonight.
It's really funny. So now they're starting the player interviews. Tavion Banks is available. But I'll read you the quote, and then you can look up Iowa basketball Twitter, what they just tweeted out. Tavion Banks on the locker room after the game. Quote, nobody's really excited about the win. It's a win. Okay, on to the next one. And then on my timeline feed, the very next tweet is 1-0, and it's 4 photos of the team celebrating Ben McCollum as Beth Getz hands him the basketball from the first game. I just think it's a great back-to-back tweet. But I'll tell you what, that's exactly what you want to do. And also Iowa basketball, Iowa social media is great. They are showing what other people have been telling us earlier. They were signing autographs. They went over the students, said hi, thanked them for coming out. Small details, man. They matter. I think there's a lot to be encouraged about. I think it's going to be a really fun team. They are going to go through ups and downs. They're going to have struggles against bigger teams. There's no doubt. But I've said it before, and I will double down after seeing the way Ben McCollum coaches and the way he's gone about the last 6 months. Ben McCollum will die to put Iowa back where he wants it and the way he remembers. Like, that's just the type of dude he strikes me as.
And again, it's what you need in this program right now. You need somebody who understands where everything is and where we are. I mean, I've said this several times, and it's just the unfortunate truth. Nothing matters until this team hits a Sweet 16, and then you can kind of reset expectations and you can kind of reset everything. But until you reach that milestone, which you haven't in 26 years, that's just going to be it's the monkey on the back of this program. And so hopefully McCollum can do it in his first couple of seasons and just kind of exercise that demon. And then again, we can kind of reset everything and look at what this program is going to be under him, hopefully for a long time. But that's where we are as a program. He knows that too. Again, he understands Iowa fans. He knows that it's important to get to the NCAA tournament and then to win a couple of games. And so it'll be interesting to see how this season plays out. But man, what a fun first night.
I'm paraphrasing here. And by the way, really quick before I paraphrase, Bennett Stirts was asked about his alley-oop. He said he might have had one in D2, but he doesn't remember the last time he completed an alley-oop dunk.
Wow.
Because I told you, I'm like, I did not know he had that in his bag. I knew he was athletic. I didn't know he had that in his bag. But so right when all the rumors were speculating that, Ben McCollum was coming to Iowa City, I was fortunate enough where I hosted KXNO with Sean Roberts, and he had Ben McCollum on right before the NCAA tournament. It was that week between, Fran had been let go, everything else. I had him on. We had him on, and I asked him. I didn't ask him about the Iowa job. I don't do that, and you're coaching another team. I'm not going to do that. But I asked him about getting the team to the tournament and a couple other things, and he basically just flat out said, yeah, it's cool. But if you get excited about making a tournament, you're not going to be focused and win.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I really buy stock into when he says it, he means it. And I think he's only showcased that.
Yes.
And as you know, as you've gotten to watch his interviews, learn more about him, and I mean this in the most endearing way possible. He's wired different.
He is.
Very in a Dan Hurley way. Like
Yeah.
not as like antic sideline, whatever, not as like outburst, but like in terms of like his mentality toward how he approaches all of that, those make the elite coaches. And by the way, if you caught it, what Jess Sells said when you spent time with Matt Painter, Matt Painter, Hall of Fame head coach, everything else, said it was a genius hire because he's gotten to know Ben McCollum too. Like just many very interesting variables with everything that's been going on.
My buddy Chris Hassel said we hired the Kirk Signetti of basketball. And like there are some. I
don't hate the comparison.
Right? He's kind of a psycho in the way you want your coach to be a psycho. Like I don't know if he'd be a good neighbor or a good friend. He seems like a good guy, but he is crazy when it comes to basketball in the best way possible. And other coaches around the country do call him and have, not just since he got the Iowa job, when he was at D2. Like, you know, game, respect, game. And other coaches saw what he was able to do and the mind he has for this sport and the work ethic he has. He's a film nut, apparently.
Dude, all he does is fish, coaches teams, and watch film. Like that's
and win conference
championships. Spend time with his family. That's all he does.
That stat they put up tonight, and again, a lot of these were D2, but 13 of the 16 seasons he's coached NCAA basketball, he's won the regular season conference championship. Good Lord.
I mean, that's Bill's self numbers.
It's insanity. I don't expect him to be rattling off a bunch of Big Ten championships at Iowa, but I think we got our coach.
I'll say this too, like when it comes to everything about Ben and this team, one of the things I got increasingly frustrated with was the fact that everybody said it was going to be a slow-paced offense.
Yeah.
And I kept harping on people. I'm like, go look at his D2 numbers. Go look at the way he does everything. Those make the best coaches when, yes, you're trying to recruit for your system, your style, but if you don't get it, you can adjust based on the personnel.
Yes.
And I think I don't care if it was against Robert Morris. Look at the difference between Drake and Iowa. I'm not saying what team's better. I'm not saying any of that but just from a strict X's and O's schematic standpoint, you can tell Ben McCollum does not want to play slow with this team.
No, absolutely. I mean, they scored 101 points tonight. I mean, what else can you say? Slow offenses don't score at that clip. Yeah. And again, it was a different pace. And I think all of us as fans are going to have to kind of adjust the way we watch this team because there were several times where I'm like, why isn't he shooting that? As well, because for the last 15 years,
I did look at that a handful of times. Yep.
The guys have shot when they had this much space, and now they're taking that extra pass. So it's a different pace, but it's far more efficient, and the production is still there. If you're scoring 100 points and and playing defense, even a little bit of defense, Jesus, watch out.
It was so funny to me because I go back. There was I think it was early in the second half. Bennett made a cross court. It was like when Bennett was in the corner and he made that cross court pass to Cooper and he pump faked. And then I think it resulted in a turnover or something. And you could see Ben McCollum shoot that. But I think Cooper was trying out, I don't want to say too hard to like fit into what Ben's system is. But like Ben's trying to instill that confidence. Like, there's a scouting report. The scouting report is you can shoot the damn ball. So shoot the damn ball.
And I'm not saying Bennett Stirts is Caitlin Clark, but every time Caitlin Clark got new teammates, we saw it in the WNBA too. They need to adjust to the way she sees the floor, the way she's able to control a game, because it's not like everybody else. They haven't played with a point guard who can make those kinds of passes, who can see those kinds of lanes. Again, Bennett Stirts is not Caitlin Clark. He's not the greatest of all time. Maybe someday he will be, but he plays the game differently, and which is, again, one of the good reasons why 5 of his Drake teammates are on the team with him. But these other guys are going to have to it's going to take a few games. You can't replicate it in practice. It's going to take some time for them to adjust to the way he leads this team, because he's clearly in full control of this offense and this team. Like he knows what he's doing out there. He is another coach. It's like Connor McCaffrey, but good at basketball, right? Like he's out there knowing what he can do, and also he can play.
I'm
sorry, Connor. If you're watching, I'm sorry. That was a cheap shot, Connor. Go Hawks. I'm sorry, bud. I love you. I'll always love you.
I'll say this too, and like think about like Hannah Stolke on the women's side. like trying to adjust to Chit Chat Wright versus Caitlin Clark. That's got to be a hell of an adjustment.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, that's got to be insane for her. And I've talked to her about that, and I still think she's trying to adjust that. So, AD, we'll wrap it up. Do you have any final thoughts about it? I mean, it was, again, I think it was better than what I expected. You don't want to take too much away from Robert Morris, but like you can see the things they're trying to instill, and now it's about how can they apply them versus higher level opponents.
Yes, and it's going to be fun to see.
And do they have the potential to do that?
It's going to be fun to see as the competition increases a little bit here in not necessarily Friday, but in these, start to play some Power 4 schools, some high major schools, and, see how this plays out. The Big Ten's going to be rough. It's going to have ups and downs, but I think most people should feel confident about this team. And, man, buckle up for the Bennett Stirts experience, because we're going to get 1 year of this dude. And I think it could be one of those years like, hey, if Mark Gronowski leads Iowa to a couple of wins the next couple of weeks, it's going to be one of these, things that goes down in history. A Brad Banks type career where you really only play for 1 year, but it's a spectacular year. We could be in for that kind of a thing with Bennett Stirts, even if Iowa isn't a great team. I mean, if this kid plays like a first team All Big Ten player, it's going to be a hell of a season.
I agree with you on that. And the only thing I'll say is I'm happy, and I really hope even if Bennett Stirts lives up to that, hype that. And again, I've been driving the hype train too. I think a lot of people have. I think we're all fighting over who's the real conductor, right? Mm-hmm. I hope people still give respect like Luka Garza, Keegan Murray, like what they did, even for Fran and the previous regime, and like what it meant in school history when you put it in retrospect. I mean, you're talking about some of the greatest players in the Big Ten over the last 20 years.
Absolutely. Yes.
Keegan Murray was still robbed, by the way. Johnny Davis is washed at this point. It was unbelievable that he got player of the year over Keegan, but I'll save that rant for about 8 Easy Eddies deep on an Iowa Everywhere podcast or something like that.
We'll do it next time.
The cup there. So, AD, I always appreciate you, man. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Thank you to everybody tuning in, too. We're going to try to make this more of a mainstay when it comes to Hawkeye Insider's coverage of everything. We'll definitely have AD back. Always appreciate the chats there. Again, stay locked into HawkeyeInsider.com. Elliot Clough, Sean Bach are on the scene. We're going to have plenty more content throughout the next, several days, AD, because we got Iowa, Oregon this week. Do you want to plug anything for your Iowa Everywhere? I know you guys are going to be locked and loaded. I think you're doing a podcast with Chad Leistko, right? Yeah,
Friday. You've been on Hawks on Tap several times. Chad's going to step in. Friday, we're in Ankeny at the Buffalo Wild Wings, so we'll be doing that. We'll have the Iowa men on Big Ten Plus there as well, so come out and watch that with us, and we'll preview that Oregon game. And then as soon as the game ends, win or lose, I'm going live on Instant Iowa on IowaEverywhere, and it's one of those shows, man. It's either going to be euphoric and like, oh my God, it's happening, or it's going to be like just
or it's going to be a hell of a thumbnail that Van Winkle's going to put up for you or something.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have a lot of Cyclone fans watching. We'll put it that way. But no, I appreciate you, man. This was a lot of fun. Go Hawks.
All right, guys. Stay locked into HawkeyeInsider.com. For David Eickholt, Andrew Downs. We'll see you next time.